This fucking game. I just finished a campaign and this game is so fucking good, I don't even know how to begin with this review. There is so much to say, but at the same time I cannot seem to get it out of me. I've waited for a game like this for so long. Somehow I knew I wanted this exact game before it was even announced. Ghost of Tsushima is a samurai action-adventure game where you have to leave your own code behind and become the ghost. The ghost does everything that is necessary, and it isn't always pretty. The game is brutal, bloody and dark, but at the same time, it is beautiful. This game is one of the best this year and one of my personal favorites ever. Maybe even a Game of the Year contender. The story in this game isn't super complex, but it handles it perfectly. I don't think every story has to be super complex to be good. If you go ahead and nail your initial idea, I think you have a pretty solid story already. You play as Jin Sakai. Jin starts the game as an honorable samurai, but as he fights the Mongols, he will have to adapt and learn new skills to overcome this huge threat. Some of these skills aren't very honorable, and he forms a new identity. He becomes the ghost. You will learn more about Jin and see all of his struggles, and you will understand why being the ghost is such a big deal for Jin. He was raised by his uncle Shimura, which also happens to be the Yito of Tsushima. Shimura does not approve of Jin's tactics as the ghost, and this puts a lot of tension between them. This tension builds up during the whole game, and it has some sort of conclusion, which I won't spoil here. We also have the main villain, Khotun Khan, which is a really good villain. He is a real threat not only because he has an army of Mongols, but also because he is a formidable warrior and a smart tactician. A big reason for Jin becoming the ghost is because the Mongols and Khotun Khan do not care about honor. They only care about taking over Tsushima and then moving on to mainland Japan. They will do anything they can and they will fight without honor. And to succeed, you have to fight without honor too. This is not easy for Jin to accept, but he will do anything for his home, even abandon his own code. If you want to defeat the Mongols, you have to find allies. You cannot fight an army without an army of your own. They might be friends from your past or unexpected people you find along the way. And these allies will also have side missions of their own called Tales of Tsushima. These side missions will not be one and done missions, but will have their own storylines that will take multiple missions to complete. This helps the world feel more alive and helps you feel involved with the world. And of course you get nice loot from some of them. These missions are quite good and I would put them up between Assassin's Creed Odyssey side missions and The Witcher 3 side missions. There are also mythical tales, and I think you can guess what they are about just from the name. Mythical tales are about different myths and are told as stories by a certain individual in the game. These tales are some of the best in the game and they give you a lot of fun and interesting lore. You also get some of the coolest and best armors in the game, and you get some good abilities too from these missions. And now I just want to say, without spoiling too much, the ending of this game is so fucking phenomenal. It is truly one of the best endings I have played in a game. It's incredibly emotional and I will remember it for a long time. It's a beautiful ending to a beautiful game. The combat in this game is really fucking good, and it's also quite unique. It reminds me a bit of a better Assassin's Creed Unity combat. You don't have a lock on and you have to move in the direction you want to attack. This can have some issues sometimes, since the camera has a life of its own. This often becomes an issue if you're fighting indoors, but you rarely do that, so it's usually fine. But I have gotten a little frustrated with the camera from time to time. The combat itself is fantastic. It feels good and is very responsive. You have 4 different stances: stone stance, wind stance, water stance and moon stance. They are all good for a different enemy type. If you try and use stone stance on a shield enemy, it will most likely not do very much. Or if you use water stance against spearmen, it will also not work very well. This makes the combat a little more complex compared to Assassin's Creed Unity, for example. This game also relies heavily on parrying, similar to Sekiro in a way. But that's where the similarities between the games end, except for them both being samurai games, I suppose. Some attacks cannot be blocked at all, and you can only dodge or parry them, but some attacks can only be avoided by dodging. These attacks are marked by a red light, so you know if you should parry or dodge. You will also unlock a lot of new abilities in your playthrough, like being able to kill more people in a standoff. A standoff is when you do a classic samurai move and keep your sword sheathed until the last second. Then you strike. If you time it right, you will instantly kill the enemy you are facing, and if you upgrade your ability, you will be able to kill up to 3 people. This is great for entering combat. The combat isn't super difficult, but it also isn't easy. Your enemies can kill you as quickly as you can kill them, so it only takes a few hits and you are dead. Early on in the game you can unlock a bow, which is great for killing enemies further away. There are more than one type of bow, but the first one you get is the half bow. It isn't the most powerful bow, but it's quick at shooting and can still kill a lot of enemies with one shot, at least if you aim for the head. You only have one melee weapon in combat, and that is the katana. It's a family heirloom of the clan Sakai, which means a lot to Jin, and you will use it your whole journey. You also have a tanto, which is used for stealth. Stealth is quite basic in this game, but I think it's quite fun too. You can do an ordinary stealth takedown from behind, or do a takedown from above. You can also chain takedowns together. There isn't much else to the stealth than that. You can upgrade your tanto for quicker and quieter stealth takedowns, which is really handy. And of course you can use the bow during stealth as well. During your journey as the ghost, you will unlock more and more ghost equipment that can help you in stealth, like throwing wind chimes as a distraction or using a smoke bomb to enter stealth once more. A big part of Ghost of Tsushima is the beautiful world. It took a lot of inspiration from the real island of Tsushima, but they also took some artistic inspiration to make it truly their own work. There is a lot of variety on the island and a lot of beautiful places to see. The developers really wanted you to explore the island without a bunch of waypoints everywhere. You can sit down and perform haiku, which is a form of poetry. These moments are some of my favorites as they are incredibly relaxing and beautiful. There can be some random encounters, like finding Mongols randomly in the world, but they are not as deep and unique as the random encounters in Red Dead Redemption 2, for example. You can find foxes in the world that will lead you to shrines that will give you extra slots for your charms. Your charms improve stats like more health or maybe more damage. There are more charms than that, of course, since there are quite a lot of charms in this game. Or a bird can lead you to a mission or some loot maybe. These small things help make the game feel more dynamic and atmospheric. And one of the best things is the wind system. Instead of a big ugly waypoint in the middle of the screen, you simply put a waypoint on the map and let the wind guide you. This is such a small thing, but helps you feel immersed in the fantastic world. There are more things than this in the game that makes the world so awesome, but I don't want to spoil every single thing. Now I need to talk about one thing I haven't seen that many reviewers talk about. The really awesome soundtrack composed by Shigeru Umebayashi and Ian Eshkeri. Sorry if I butchered those names. They both made a fantastic job of making this game truly feel like a samurai game. It is simply perfect for this game. Now, this is the end of my review. Ghost of Tsushima is phenomenal and does not have a lot of issues. The only real issue for me has been the camera. It can get in the way sometimes, but usually works fine for me. Everything else in this game is top notch, and I am so incredibly proud of the work Sucker Punch has put into this game. The story is also really good, which I did not entirely expect. If you like these kinds of games, you really have to give this game a try. You will love it. Thank you guys so much for watching this video. If you liked it, feel free to give the video a like and maybe even subscribe. I enjoy making this kind of content, but it takes a lot of time to finish games and write a review. The worst part is probably the editing, to be honest. It can take hours, even though I enjoy it. But in the end, it's totally worth it because of all you guys that support me and give me nice comments. Thank you, have a great day, and goodbye.